It's me, Jenny, the maid in disguise. If you're wondering why a rich girl like me chose to be a maid, then it sounds like you haven't watched the dramatic episode 1 all about my turbulent time in this house. You should totally go and check it out. I had my dream acting role to get, so what better way to understand the mindset of a maid than to live the life of one? So that's why I'm here, working at the director Lucas's house. Unfortunately, it wasn't all smooth sailing, as his spiteful daughter Lily found out my secret, and now she was intent on making my life a misery. Jessie, Miss Hemingworth is asking for her tea. You see, I was already having 1,000 things to take care of since tonight the director's throwing a party for the movie's crew. And still, Lily wouldn't give me a break with all of her annoying orders. As soon as I put the tea tray down in front of Lily, she looked at me disapprovingly, then took the dish towel from the tray and wiped the lipstick off my lips. Maids have no use for makeup, do they, Jessie? Or should I say, Jenny? Are you trying to seduce my Jack? Stay away from him, else I'll make you pay for it. I leaned close to Lily's ear. Hate to break it to you, but Jack's the one who can't seem to stay away from me. Apparently, you aren't as attractive as a maid, huh? Furious, Lily knocked over the teacup, causing a few drops of hot water to splash onto my hand. Right at that moment, Jack passed by and rushed over to me. Are you okay? Let me look at that. I'm fine. Please go away. I don't want my mistress to misunderstand. Jack helped me up, then turned and gave Lily an opposing look. I didn't do anything. She's just faking it. Without letting her finish, he led me into his room. Gee, Lily sure looked mad about this. I honestly wasn't that hurt, but Jack still gently took care of me. He even softly blew on my hand to help relieve the pain. Can't deny that I was a little moved by his gestures. To be fair, he is handsome. It isn't a stretch that people call him the Adonis of showbiz. Suddenly, I noticed him meet my gaze. Oh no, had he noticed me staring at him? Why are you looking at me in that way? You're not even blinking. Then he leaned towards my face. Was he going to kiss me again? I quickly covered my mouth with my hand, and he just shook his head and laughed. What do you think I'm gonna do, huh? I leaped up and raced out of there. Whoa, my heart has never pounded so fast. I composed myself, then went downstairs to continue working. But, well, look who's here again. Surely Lily started to boss me around anew as soon as she saw my face. The night fell, the guests started to arrive, and so the party could finally get started. And while serving everyone drinks, I kept my ear open to catch all kinds of gossiping about the play. Meanwhile, Lily was practically glued to Jack's side. She clearly wanted everyone to think that they were an item. She waved me over, but as I neared her, I noticed her stick her foot out to trip me up. Okay, fine. If she wanted me to fall, then I'd fall. So I purposely fell and spilled red wine all over her beloved bespoke dress. She looked like she was going to internally explode, but I just apologized profusely as I helped her up. Lily got the hump, then went upstairs to change clothes. With her out of the way, Jack asked me if my hand was okay. Was he really worried about me? He gently held my hand to check, then even dusted off my clothes. I gave a shy smile and was about to thank him, but he had already turned away to greet Siren, this beautiful emerging actress. Unbelievable! As I watched him lead her over to the dance floor, I felt so foolish for ever believing a guy like him was capable of having sincere feelings. I angrily left when the housekeeper insisted I fetch more chairs for the guests. Ugh! Being a maid is really miserable. You don't even have time to be upset. As I hurried to the storage room, I saw Lily standing in front of the director's study room, looking sneaky. What was she doing? I cleared my throat, which startled her and caused her to drop her phone. Oh boy, when she spun around and saw me, she sure looked mad. She ordered me to carry her dress, but I told her that I had to finish the housekeeper's task first. Be quick! Meet me by the pool! Then she stormed off. Curious, I peeked through the gap into Lucas's office and saw Mrs. Sharma in there with him. Was Lily eavesdropping on them? After that, I had to carry the train of Lily's dress around the party. Indeed, a showy girl. But her plan to punish me wasn't working, as everyone seemed to pay more attention to me than to her. I even overheard some of them whisper that I was pretty, which made Lily screw her face up in annoyance. Then when we were by the pool, she ordered me to fix her hair, but then she suddenly swung her hands out, which caused me to lose my balance. Panicked, I grabbed onto Lily's dress belt, and we both gave horrified looks as we fell head first into the pool. Lily intentionally pushed me for everyone to laugh at anyway, so fine, an eye for an eye. Seeing as Lily was like a buoyancy aid in that OTT dress, I pretended that I couldn't swim and clung to her, then pushed her head down several times. Suddenly, someone jumped into the pool and pulled me up. It was Jack. For someone who can't swim, you sure don't seem that freaked out, huh? Next time, try acting more realistic. Geez, Jack saw right through me. I shyly made an excuse to go change clothes and left. Thank goodness, that chaotic party was over. It was absolutely exhausting. Still, I couldn't stop thinking about Jack and how he always seemed to appear at the right moment. I suppose his actions really touched me. However, there's a chance that he was just using me to annoy Lily, right? She definitely wouldn't let me off this time. Speak of the devil. I forbid you from talking to Jack ever again! You've probably forgotten my warning. My dad's at home right now. Should I go talk to him? Do what you want, but I'm sure the press would love to see some unflattering photos of you. And do you remember how that one time you pretended to be sick in order to avoid participating in a charity program? You dare to sneakily take photos of me? You! It's you who went through my stuff first. I have no interest in Jack, but no way will I ever sit back and let you control me again. Okay, fine. As long as you don't hover around him, I'll leave you alone. My dad told you to bring him some tea into his working room, so better hurry up. Lucas wants to drink tea while working? Okay. I carried the tea tray upstairs and quickly hid in a room near his office. After a while, I saw Lily come up and put her ear close to the door, muttering, "Why hasn't Dad yelled at her yet? Is she flirting with him again? This fox!" Then she immediately flung the door open, thinking she's going to catch me red-handed. You see, I know that Lucas only drank coffee while working, and also he hated being disturbed. At this point, I slowly entered the room and saw him shouting at his beloved daughter. "I already said that no one could enter this room without my permission." I pretended not to understand what was going on at that time and hurriedly placed the tea tray on the table. "Sir, Mistress ordered me to bring you some tea." "Both of you get out! Now!" Lily glared at me angrily and walked out. It serves her right for trying to get me into trouble. It's crazy how fast time flies. The last day of casting was the next day already. I stayed up late to practice some more, when suddenly Lily burst in and tore up my script. "I forbid you to audition for this role! It'll be mine anyway, so just give up and save yourself the humiliation." Poof! What to do with this delusional girl? The next morning, I woke up early to get ready, but when I went to open my door, it wouldn't budge. Oh no, it was locked from the outside. Lily had to be behind this. I opened the window and peered down. It wasn't too high, so I tied my clothes together into a rope to climb down. But halfway down, a shirt suddenly ripped and I fell into someone's arms. I scrambled to my feet and turned to see Jack. He was rubbing his arm while frowning at me. "You love falling into my arms, don't you?" "I'm in a rush. I don't have time to argue with you." I grabbed my bag and was about to leave when an idea popped into my mind. "Can you take me to the studio right away?" Jack was a bit surprised at first, but he eventually agreed. I transformed while in the car. I took off my wig and brown contact lenses, put on some makeup, and voila! Beautiful Jenny was back. Jack couldn't help but gape at me in surprise. You... What's going on? But there was no time to explain. We'd already arrived at the studio. I hopped out of the car and hurried inside to audition. The director called my name at the exact moment I entered the set. I quickly regained my composure and stepped onto the stage where Mrs. Sharma was already waiting. I told myself I wouldn't let her frazzle me this time. As expected, she tried to throw me off by changing the situation and dialogue. But I took inspiration from my difficult times being Lily's maid and performed my heart out. When I finished, the whole film set started to applaud. Some of them even had teary eyes, which made me burst with happiness. After a while of discussion, the director stood up and was about to announce the results when Lily suddenly appeared. She turned on the projector and asked everyone to watch an important video. Is she trying to expose me right now? But, oh, it was a video of Mrs. Sharma talking to the director. "Jenny Sinclair is my daughter. I only want the best for her. Please accept my request." Oh my gosh. So, the rumor about my mom being a famous actress is true. It was Mrs. Sharma who chose her career over me. I fell to my knees and looked at Mrs. Sharma, whose eyes were full of guilt. Everybody took out their phones to take pictures and videos. My ears were ringing, hearing thousands of questions buzzing around. Suddenly, the light went out. In the dark, a hand pulled me out of the crowd. It was Jack. He put his jacket over me and then secretly took me to the car. Jack drove for an hour to a deserted beach. The two of us sat on the sand and stared out at the sea. Suddenly, Jack turned to face me and took my hand in his. If you've decided to become an actress, having to face the public backlash over a rumor, whether it's the truth or not, is unavoidable. No matter what everyone says, you just need to stay true to yourself and believe in the rightful things you did. I smiled slightly at Jack. It turned out that behind this scandalous bad boy image was actually a really brave guy who had been through a lot in this tough industry. Jack took me home after sunset, and as soon as I reached the front porch, I heard quarreling. So I slowly opened the door, kept my ear to the ground, and gently peeked into the living room. Oh my god, Mrs. Sharma is here? Why did you leave her for 18 years, then come back and mess things up like that? You know very well that I did no such thing. You're the one who prevented me from seeing her. I've always watched Jenny from afar. There's not a single photo of her that I don't keep. If you love her, why did you drag her into acting? You want her to have a suffocating life, always being watched by thousands of people, not having a single day of freedom like you? Meanwhile, I can provide her with a comfortable, pressure-free life. I don't want her to be an actress either. I was the one who asked the director not to give her the lead role. I also want her to have a peaceful life. So I've tried everything in my capability to make her fail the casting. Unbelievable. So that's the truth? Dad, why did you hide Mom away from me? Do you know how much it sucked not having a mom? Jenny, why are you here? Just hear me out. I don't want to hear anything. Jenny, let me explain. Miss Sharma, acting is my passion. You abandoned me to chase yours, but now you want to forbid mine? How ridiculous! Both of you keep saying you're doing what's best for me, but have you ever asked me how I feel? I hate you both! I ran to my room, slammed the door, then cried my eyes out until I fell asleep. When I woke up, I saw a bunch of notifications on my phone. Turns out Miss Sharma went live and publicized her side of the story. The article showed the room full of my pictures from baby to grown-up. She talked about how when she divorced my dad, even though she loved me dearly, she thought he'd be able to provide me with a better life, so she gave him full custody. So, it turns out I do have a famous actress mom, and she does love me. I guess it must have been hard for Mom, and she must have suffered a lot too. Looking at the pictures of my childhood preserved by her, tears welled up in my eyes. At that moment, my maid rushed in. "Miss, congratulations! They picked you!" The maid showed me the phone screen. In front of me was an article titled, "Jenny Sinclair chosen as the servant's leading lady." I rubbed my eyes in disbelief. This is real, right? It's real, miss. Look, even your casting clip has reached millions of likes, and the comments are full of praise for your method acting. Everyone supports you. I jumped up and hugged my maid, tears streaming down my face. Finally, I've achieved my dream. So, what now? Well, as you can see, I made it. This is the movie premiere. I'm here with my mom. She accompanied me on set and taught me a lot. Suddenly, a firm hand wrapped around my waist from behind. It was Jack. He's always playfully sweet like that. The three of us posed for photos and greeted our fans. The media these days keeps shipping me with Jack. They say we're a case of on-screen romance turning into real-life lovers. But, that's not quite right, seeing as we actually fell in love before filming even started. Oh, that person over there. Is that really my dad? Oh my, today is indeed the happiest day of my life. Having Dad's support for my passion like this means everything to me. I'm well on my way to becoming an excellent actress like my mom. Or, who knows, maybe even better.